There we go. We are live right now. Okay, let me just put this on Twitter here. Okay. 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 Hey guys, how's everyone doing? I hope everyone's having a great Friday. Hey Zach, Ghoster, Reggie. Hey guys, how are you guys? Okay, oh, my Deadeye is pretty much done. I should fill that up. My character still has cigars? Yes, he does. Okay. Okay. I'm doing good. How are you guys? I'm okay, Manuf. Yes, I do GTA streams on Sundays, Red Dead streams on Fridays, and tomorrow I'm gonna have a GTA Online video. Will I ever do a playthrough of the Saints Row series? I already have Viper. Done Saints Row 1, 2, 3, and the reboot. I just haven't done 4, which I'll do that in the future. Insurance bug is fixed now. Yeah, I heard about that. It's okay to play Red Dead Online. It's here's what I'll tell you. If you are a new player on this game, right? If you just start out, you're not going to be bored because you're going to have plenty of stuff to do. From trader, moonshiner, you know, collector, you'll have plenty of stuff to do. But after a few months, when you do everything that's been added in the game in the last few years, you're going to get bored. And for me personally, if you've been playing the game for some time, if I play with friends, it's fun. If I play with, you know, my buddies on this game. But if I'm playing with myself, I'm going to be bored. And so if I play with my friends, I talk to you guys, it's fun. And so I have, you know, I made a pledge and a promise that I would never really end the Red Dead streams. I enjoy this game still playing with my friends, and so even though the game's been abandoned by Rockstar, I made a pledge not to abandon the game on my channel. So, I still have a Red Dead videos planned, by the way. Even though I haven't done a Red Dead video in months, I've done streams, but I haven't done a video in months. I do have a video planned, and it's going to be ranking all the Red Dead Online DLCs from worst to best. That's a video that I'm going to have planned. Bro, it's Saturday morning now, so it's clickbait for me. Oh, okay, Chester. Where are you at? Are you somewhere in Europe? No, I've never played Star Wars Republic Commando. Super Mario RPG, this is the first time I'm hearing about it. What's your worst mission in the GTA HD universe? The worst mission in the HD universe.
Hello, mister.
The worst mission in the HD universe has to be one of the missions in Chinatown Wars. Because there was some missions in Chinatown Wars that I really didn't like. I'm trying to remember which one it might have been. Cool cosplay, thank you, man. When's the next Medal of Honor video? Tomorrow. Tomorrow, and the final part of Crime Boss is going to be tomorrow. The ending. I recorded the ending. I'm going to upload it tomorrow, and next Medal of Honor part. And we are going to be uploading a GT Online video, so there'll be plenty of content for you guys to watch tomorrow. Trevor at the docks? No, it's called Scouting the Port. A lot of people say Scouting the Port is the worst mission in GTA 5, but I don't really think it's that bad of a mission, because you're getting information in the port, you're trying to figure out how things work. You know, people find it boring because you're not killing anything in the mission, but I don't think it's that bad of a mission, because you're trying to figure out what's going on at the port, what they're transporting and stuff like that. If anything, I think the worst mission in GTA 5 is that, did somebody say yoga? That mission, I think that one's the worst one. So I think that one might be the worst mission in the game. What would I like to see in Red Dead 3? Probably Jack Marston's story. It's my birthday tomorrow. Happy early birthday, Michael. Oh, GTA 4? We could do another GTA 4 stream. Yeah, I'm down for that. Next week, I'm doing Vice City stories, continuing the 100% completion. Yeah, but GTA 4 we could do sometime in July. Yeah, we could do it. Hey, GB, how are you, man? My PS5 crashes the most when I play Modern Warfare. When I play Modern Warfare, my PlayStation crashes multiple times. But it doesn't really crash on this game. Oh, I don't like this one. We're gonna look for the target. How big do you think GTA 6 will be? In GB, what's GB? Oh, gigabytes. Okay, I was just a bit confused. Probably gonna be at least over 100 gigs. Honestly, if they make it under 100 gigs, I will be very surprised. Great lore video on GTA San Andreas. It was amazing. Thank you, Eric. The unfortunate thing, though, Eric, is that the San Andreas video got copyright claimed. My dispute expires in 27 days, so in 27 days I will be able to monetize the video, but it just sucks that for a whole month I can't do it, and Rockstar is refusing to release the claim. The thing about this is the last 2 times I got a copyright claim from Rockstar, I appealed it, and within an hour they released the claim. Within an hour each time. But now it's like, it's been 3 days, and they still haven't released a claim. It's like, come on, Rockstar, seriously? But it's getting ridiculous, yeah. What horse is that? I don't remember the type, but I remember it's the type, the trader horse. The one that you get a discount with the trader. That was the one that, I could, like 9 years ago reward. I haven't in a very long time. Well, it's kind of crazy what's going on there, kind. We're gonna have to wait to see what happens. I don't know who that is, Jake. Do you think that Volition has a good chance of making a new Saints Row? Now that Deep Silver isn't with them? No, I don't. I don't trust Volition to make a good Saints Row game anymore. I don't. Honestly, what Volition should probably do is just release whatever DLC you have planned left for the Saints Row reboot, and then just cancel the series like that one, and just restart it again. Reboot of a reboot of a reboot. That's probably what they should do. Because it's like they should just start all over again, start from scratch, new city, you know, and do it Stillwater in the reboot. Reboot a new version of Stillwater. That's better. And you know, bring back like Troy, Julius, Dex, you know, those characters. I won the car in the casino in GTA Online last night. It's the Pegasi Tempesta. Oh, congratulations, Aussie guy. Thank you for the super chat. And thank you, Polyflame, for sponsoring my channel. The cars that I won from the wheel, I won like 3 or 4, I think. I won the Scarface car, the Stafford. I won that one. I won I won an Ubermacht car once, and then I won a racing car once, but I don't remember the racing car's name. What ability cards are you using? Let me show you. I am using Focus Fire. So Focus Fire, when I activate Deadeye, I do more damage, and my teammates do more damage. Winning Streak, each consecutive shot does more damage than the last, so my second shot will do more damage than my first, as long as I don't miss. And Necessity Breeds. I get closer to death, you start to do more damage. and your hat will block 1 headshot, never without one. So I run pretty much mostly a damage build. That's what I focus on. I remember it was a racing car. I don't remember the name of it, though. In GT Online, I won that in the casino once. What would I like in Sniper Elite 6? Sniper... Do you know what Sniper Elite 6 should do? The Korean War. I'd like to see that. Do the Korean War. I think that would be a very interesting conflict, and you can bring back Carl, because the guy would still be there 5 years after World War II. Hey, Pro, can you say hey to my friends, Nikon and Custodian Ruby? They love your videos. Well, thank you, Seth. Thank you, Seth. And who are your friends? I haven't heard of them before. But is the DualSense Edge worth it? It is. Here's what I'll say about the DualSense Edge. I've been using it for what, 4 months now at this point. But hello to your friends there, Seth. Thank you for the super chat. What I'll say about the DualSense Edge, I'm using it right now. The DualSense Edge, I have not encountered any stick drift with this in 4 months, and I play regularly, so I haven't encountered any stick drift whatsoever. But I've encountered stick drift once after like 6 months on a controller. So right now I haven't encountered any stick drift whatsoever. My controller is completely smooth, and I like that about this controller is I can just change out the grips here. I like you play other games besides GTA 5. Thank you, Lewis. But what I'll say is, do you know what the worst thing about the Edge is? The worst thing about the Edge is something YouTubers don't talk about. Look at this right here. This. Look at my finger right now. See this? Look at that. See that? That is my grip on my Edge. And look at the other grip too. Look at this one. Look. See this? That happens. And back here, this also. So basically, that's the thing about the Edge, because the Edge has rubber grips, which I actually would have preferred plastic grips instead of rubber grips, because at least the plastic isn't gonna peel. But apparently it has rubber grips because they wanted to make sure that your sweaty hands, you're still able to play. But this is the worst part of the Edge, is the grips. The grips start peeling. And the thing is, I wasn't abusing my controller. I wasn't like pulling on these grips just trying to rip them off. This just happened, both of them, over time, and they're starting to peel. And the controller works fine, just the grips. But I'm probably gonna get some tape and probably see if I can fix this. But yeah, it is a bit annoying. That's just the problem with the... oh, thank you, George. Let me tell you something, Shane. Well, hello, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm currently playing Far Cry 4, going for 100 and Platinum Trophy. Well, thank you, George. And yeah, that was Shane's #1 line. Let me tell you something. Rick, let me tell you something. That was The Walking Dead. I remember that. Is Crime Boss worth buying for $40? No. For $30, yes, I would say. I like the empire building, and the economy in Crime Boss is actually pretty good. The money economy is actually decent in Crime Boss. On my ending, I'm gonna upload the ending tomorrow. I explained all that parts about it. Yeah, that is a $200 controller. Yes, I played a few of the Far Cry games, but Far Cry 2 is my favorite one. I did hear about it, Austin. Your GTA money guys help. Thank you. Well, no problem, John.
Just go to hell.
The Devil in Me, I'm gonna probably maybe July. We'll do a playthrough of it. When it's at 3 minutes, it's delivered to target then. Well, the Battle of the Bulge, I think, is the largest battle that the U.S. fought in World War II.
Shit, not again.
Yeah, the voice acting is a bit cringe in Crime Boss, but I'll say the empire building is what I like about it, Robbie. What you doing on the 4th of July? I don't know. How I have to think. When are you posting the Smuggler's Run guide? Sometime next month. Not next month, next week. I would say next month, next week sometime. When will I do a Red Dead 1 playthrough? Red Dead 1 playthrough? This year? We'll definitely do this year. I just don't know around when. Coconuts? I like coconut, I like coconut juice. That I do like. Or coconut water, I should say. I haven't tried the multiplayer. What's the multiplayer crime boss like? Thank you, Austin, and thank you, Victor. After hearing of the outcome of the Titan submersible, I don't think I will ever go deep sea exploring ever. My condolences goes out to the 5 people. Thank you, Victor, for the super chat. Oh, what just happened? Is he running? Oh. Yeah, it was horrible what happened with that submarine. But I heard later on that the company that was in charge of that they were using a Logitech controller to pilot the submarine. Is that actually true? But that's what I heard some people actually saying about it.
No good, cocksucker.
When is Cops and Crooks out? Well, according to the clickbaiters, it should be out anytime soon now. Would I ever play Friday the 13th game on stream, or would you also be too violent for YouTube? Also, are you going to get the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game when it comes out? In August, probably not get the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, because I'm just not into that movie. But I might play Friday the 13th.
The faster this one hangs, the better.
One trick question. Which generals in World War II would you have spared because of their background? This one is going to be on the Rising Sun Empire of Japan. Honestly, there very few of the Japanese generals deserved to get spared after what they did in World War II. The Japanese generals were just very ruthless. And the thing about that is that when it thank you, JD. Do you know something? The Japanese had their own version of the Nuremberg trials, which those were the trials for the Nazis, but the Japanese, their war crime trials were the Tokyo War Tribunals. But here's the thing about that. Do you know what the Japanese defense at their war crime trials was? The Nazis, how they defended themselves at trial is they would typically say that they were ordered to do it. That's what typically the Nazis would use as their defense. And after that, the Nuremberg trials, the courts ruled that you cannot use that as defense, that you were just following orders. But here's the thing is, they not only were just following orders, they gladly followed those orders. They were fine with following those orders. They had no regrets about any of that. If anything, the only regret they had is that they lost the war. That was they weren't sorry for what they did. And so that's not an excuse that you were following orders. Like, you can't use that as a defense. It was good on the courts to not accept that as a defense. And a lot of them ended up getting hanged and shot, which they deserved it. But the Japanese, on the other hand, when it came to their war crimes trial, they were a little bit different. The Japanese didn't actually use the excuse that they were following orders. They instead said, the Japanese generals claimed at trial, most of them claimed that they didn't order any specific massacres, but their soldiers did it. So while they didn't deny a lot of the massacres, they claimed that their soldiers did it, they just didn't order it. Now, here's the thing, here's what the Japanese generals don't seem to understand. As a commanding officer, you are responsible for your men. You're responsible for what your men do. So if your men are going out and pillaging and murdering, and you do absolutely nothing about it, even if you didn't give an order to do that, but if your soldiers do that and you don't restrain them, you don't stop them from doing that, you don't punish them for that, you are just responsible as them. So while they might not have given specific orders to, commit those massacres and the pillaging and all the other stuff that the Japanese army had done, is they had made no attempts to stop it. Did they punish any soldiers for murder of civilians? No. Did they punish any soldiers for rape? No, they didn't. And so they're just as guilty as the soldiers that were. So if you're asking me what Japanese general I would have spared during the war if I was in charge of the trials, very few to almost none, because almost all the Japanese generals were just very ruthless guys. They were just very, they were not, you know, they were not good people. There was only one Japanese general that I actually read about a long time ago. I forget the name, somebody in the comments might know, but it was like the only Japanese general that I saw that had some decency and some honor. There was like one Japanese general that, what happened was he had gotten punished, for, after the war, and he got sentenced to a few years in prison. And when he was released from prison, he actually claimed that his sentence was not truly up. And the Japanese authorities were like, what do you mean? And he's like, I still deserve, I should be in prison for longer than this. I shouldn't be in prison for this. And they're like, your sentence is up. And he's like, no, I should still be in prison. And so what this Japanese general did, in his backyard, he actually built a cage. And he would just lock himself in the cage and just starve himself. That's because he felt guilty for what he had done during World War II. And that was like the only, like, Japanese general that I saw that had any remorse. Like, the only one. Because, like, virtually all of them had, like, no remorse for what they had done. But that was, like, the only one that, that I seen that had some remorse. But just look it up. Japanese general who caged himself, and you'll find it on Google right away. It was, like, the only Japanese general that I saw that had some remorse for what they did during World War II. Now, I don't know if he committed any specific atrocities. He probably was involved in something if he felt that guilty. But it's the fact that he showed remorse. He showed that he was sorry for what he did, where a lot of the other generals, they weren't. But I'll look it up. I'll look it up in a little bit here. Let me see here. Hey, Pro, will you ever do a final Red Dead Online solo money guide? Thank you, Austin. I don't know. I have to think of something. Maybe I could do something like that one day, Austin, but I'll have to think about it. Yamashita is a possible only exception. Maybe. And thank you, JD, and thank you, Vinny, for the super chat. Let me look him up. I will look up that Japanese general right now. His name was Hitoshi Imamura. Okay. Imamura was charged with unlawfully disregarding and failing to discharge his duty to control members of his command, where they committed brutal atrocities and other high crimes. He was tried by an Australian military court at Rabaul on 1st of May, the 16th of May, 1947. He was convicted and sentenced to an imprisonment for 10 years. Imamura served his imprisonment at Sugamo prison in Tokyo until he was released in 1954. As he found that his imprisonment was too light with respect to his responsibility for the crimes of his subordinates, he had a replica of the prison built in his garden, and he stayed there until his death. Wow. And when did he die? He died in 1968, so he imprisoned himself in his garden until 1968. So he basically put himself on house arrest until his death. Yeah, so this guy clearly had remorse for what he did. You know, I would say he was one of the more honorable, you know, Japanese generals, but it was that a lot of the Japanese generals were not remorseful for what they had done. Do I think Spider-Man No Way Home was overhyped? I can't give a definite answer to that, Chrysler, because I didn't watch the movie. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you, Vinny, for sponsoring my channel. I think From Russia with Love is the best 007 game. I love From Russia with Love. Okay, let's go to my Moonshine Shack. I'll teleport everyone inside, too. Oh, you watched Midway, Hesh. That was a good one. Midway is one of my favorite movies. And the thing about it is that when Midway was first coming out, everybody was saying that it was going to suck. Like, people were saying, oh, this movie's going to suck. But Midway, when it actually released, it was actually a decent movie. What the? What the? What? Did you guys just see all those X's outside? What was that? Okay, I don't... What do you think is the most overrated video game of all time? I don't know. I have to think about that one. Yeah, I'd have to really think about that one. I don't know actually. I'll think about it.
Très bien. This was a good deal. This will be a little...
What's another money guide? I'll do a Smuggler's Run money guide next week. What do you think is, oh, okay, I'll still answer that one. Hey, Pro, can you give your thoughts behind the Oh, well, bruh, I don't really want to, you know, talk about them because I don't want to give them attention. But, you know, at the time is, you know, when I was making my channel, I was, when I was making my channel, I said to myself I was never going to clickbait, I was never going to pull any of this crap, I was always going to be honest and straightforward with people. There was, I'm going to be making a post later today, also on my channel, talking about that damn video that I made. Now, that damn video that I made, like, you know, talking about, like, did Merryweather, like, drain the dam? I was not trying to clickbait anybody. I wasn't. It was my bad, and I messed up on it. I'm taking responsibility for that. I made a mistake. Now, the reason that I thought that Merryweather actually drained the dam is because when you look at the concept art of that, when you look at the art, you see that there's no water in the dam, and the soldiers are actually standing right at the wall of the dam, and it's right at the one that's right over the casino. It's that one, and so that's why I honestly thought there was gonna be like a mission or something where the dam was gonna be dried up. That's what I thought at least. I wasn't trying to clickbait anyone. It was an honest mistake. And I'm going to take responsibility. I'll make a post about it apologizing for it later today. I might take the video down. If you guys want me to take that damn video down, I'll take it down if people really want me to. But I wasn't trying to clickbait on that. It was an honest mistake. Okay. The problem is that I analyze, when I analyze things a lot. Like, I really go into analyzing things, and I guess I overanalyzed it too much, and the artwork was just not accurate to the final product of what we got. Tomoyuki Yamashita, Rising Sun Navy General, you're talking about the most remorseful. Tomoyuki Yamashita was probably most honorable and disgraceful. I haven't heard about him, JD. I haven't heard about him. Thank you for the thank you for the super chat. But I'll tell you is that the Japanese officer, he wasn't a general, but he was an officer. The Japanese officer in that movie, damn, what is the name of that movie? The oh my god, I saw this a few years ago, the movie. The movie where the guy's like an Olympic runner and he's a prisoner, and then he has the log and the Japanese general just punches him when he has the log. What's the name of that movie? Damn, I saw this movie a few years ago and I'm forgetting the title of it. Unbroken, that's it. So the Japanese officer that was in that movie Unbroken, he was a real guy, and that guy was a piece of crap. You know, that guy was, you know, horrible human being. And the thing about it is that the main character, the main character in Unbroken, he was a real person too. He actually said that he forgave the guy. So he forgave the guy for what he did to him. And all he wanted to do was he wanted to meet the guy. When he went to Japan, he wanted to meet the guy after so many years, and he refused to meet with him. So that was it. So you have to be a really good person. You have to be a really good person, and you have to have a really good heart to be able to forgive somebody that did something like that to you. Somebody that would torture you like that and just make your life a living hell as when you're a prisoner of war. To be able to forgive somebody like that, for something like that, you have to have a really good heart and have to be a really good person. I don't know if I'd be able to forgive somebody for doing something like that to me. But it was, but the fact that the guy wouldn't even meet with him, he still forgave him despite that, but the fact that he wouldn't even meet with him, that's just, you know, absolute garbage of a person. That's what I'll say about him. Oh yeah, Unit 731, that was the Japanese chemical and biological weapons division. Here's the thing about this, Sam. If you are actually interested about like the history of Unit 731, there's actually a horror game that I actually played on my channel that is actually about Unit 731. It's called The Dark Pictures, Man of Medan. go on YouTube. I'll go on my YouTube channel and look up The Dark Pictures Men of Medan. And it's a horror game I played back in 2019. But basically, the story of the game is that the U.S. military is transporting. It's after World War II. Japan surrendered, and the U.S. military is transporting, like, it's on this cargo ship. It's transporting this, like, Japanese weapon from Manchuria all the way to the U.S. And what happens is the weapon actually goes loose in the cargo hold. During the trip, and ends up killing the crew. And then what ends up happening is it goes forward in time, where pirates kidnap a bunch of tourists, like people that were just like on vacation, and then they take them to that ship, and then, you know, strange things start happening on it. So that's what I'll say is check out that game, Men of Medan, on my channel. That was well, no, in the game, I don't want to spoil the story for Sam, because Sam seems very interested in the story, but it's not super on that, JD. It's not. It's actually explained what it is. You should watch Downfall. It's a World War II movie. I actually watched Downfall last week. I saw Downfall years ago, but I actually rewatched it because it's free right now on YouTube. I rewatched Downfall. Downfall is actually a really good movie. It is. It's actually one of the best World War II movies. You know, and the thing about Downfall is a very historically accurate film. That movie is very historically accurate. I can't really think of anything that's historically inaccurate in that film. That film is actually pretty historically accurate. Ouch, what, Chaz? Let me go start up a new bounty mission. Yeah, we'll still start up a new bounty mission. But, you know that, do you know what Downfall got right in that movie? What it got right was the movie got right on how delusional Hitler was as a military commander, because Hitler believed that Germany was still going to prevail and still going to win. He thought that Germany, in his delusional mind, he thought that Germany was still going to win even in April of 1945. Germany had actually lost a year before that. The only thing Germany could have done is delay their defeat. But they were gonna lose. They were gonna lose, and Hitler was just, the generals knew that it was over. They lost, but Hitler was just still planning, and he was like messing around with soldiers that he didn't have, saying, oh, you know, move these guys here, do that, which Downfall actually represents that pretty accurately. And that whole thing, you know that whole scene in the movie when he like freaks out and has his temper tantrum and throws the pen over like the Steiner's assault. You know, the scene that everyone parodies, that scene actually happened where he threw the pen. And that was the first time where Hitler actually admitted that he had lost the war, because basically what happened was Felix Steiner was an SS general, and he was supposed to organize a unit of Volkssturm, which Volkssturm are the civilian militias. That they were basically civilians that were drafted into the German army, and a lot of these civilians, these were old people who were sick, even kids, Hitler Youth. So it was like people who were not soldiers, who were at the last few weeks of World War II, Germany was basically drafting everyone. And what happened is these guys didn't have any military experience. They were only maybe given like, a few weeks of training at most. And what happened is the Steiner's force, I think, was like 40,000, 50,000, but it was only 40 to 50,000 on paper. That's what it was, just like on paper. In reality, the force, they didn't even have enough ammo. And they were in a defensive position. They were not prepared to attack. And so Hitler was just basically saying, oh, Steiner is to commence his attack. And the Soviets were surrounding Berlin with over 2 million soldiers, and they had hundreds of tanks. And so Hitler, in his delusional mind, somehow thought that Steiner's counterattack was somehow going to turn the entire 2 million, Soviet forces all around, and somehow Germany was going to win the war. That's really what Hitler thought. Steiner refused to attack because Steiner knew that it was pointless, that it was a suicide, that they were all going to die if they attacked. And what happened was that was the first time Hitler actually admitted that he lost the war. He had his temper tantrum, and he blamed like the generals. and just was freaking out and just screaming. Another scene in Downfall that's pretty historically accurate is there's that scene with Speer, when Speer comes in the bunker. Now Speer is he was the head architect of Germany at the time. He was the guy who would design all the Nazis' infrastructure and their like big construction projects. Now Speer, about him, is Hitler had it was called Operation Nero. It was based on the Roman emperor who actually burnt Rome. Now, Hitler had actually ordered all German infrastructure to be destroyed as the Allies were approaching. And when he ordered all infrastructure to be destroyed, he didn't just order, things like bridges and train tracks. That wasn't it. It was bridges, train tracks, factories, farms were to be burned down, schools blown up, hospitals destroyed. So all of this stuff, destroying all of this stuff would cause Germany to starve. You'd have millions of people that would be starving after the war. You'd have no industry, no factories, nothing to rebuild Germany with after the war. And Speer actually told Hitler, he's like, don't do this because the German people are going to need this after the war. And Hitler had actually told him that the real Germans had already died. And he said that the Germans who are still around are the weak Germans and they deserve to be destroyed. And so that was the thing about Hitler, is Hitler was going to take every single German with him. Every single man, woman, and child. He didn't care. It was his own ego. Hitler never once admitted that he was wrong. Never once. Up until the very end when he died, he never admitted that he was wrong. He never, admitted to any of the atrocities that he had done. To him, it was that the German people had failed. It wasn't that he had failed the German people, it was the German people had failed him. That's how evil Hitler was. He was just a horrible human being. He was even going to bring down his entire country, make his own people suffer. He didn't think that Germany, there should be anything left of Germany. And the thing about this is Speer actually disobeyed this order, so he didn't do the order. He refused to carry out the sabotage, and that was actually the only reason that Speer was actually spared at the Nuremberg trials from the death penalty. But the thing about this is, even though Speer had refused to follow Hitler's orders on destroying all the German infrastructure, Speer was not a good man, because Speer had, Speer was not totally evil like Hitler, but he still did horrible things, because Speer had used concentration camp prisoners as slave labor to build his projects. Now, Speer claimed he didn't know, but he did know. He definitely knew. There's no way that somebody like Speer, that type of guy, that he's running all these construction projects, for him to not know that he was using slave labor on that's clearly him lying about that. But Speer was spared the death penalty because of that, because he was like the very, very high-ranking Nazi. He was one of the very few high-ranking Nazis that was actually not given the death penalty. He served like 20 years in prison, and then he got out. But that was that's the only reason he was spared from the death penalty, because he refused to carry out that destruction order in the end. Turn down the in-game volume. Okay, I'll turn it down a little bit here. Yeah, but Downfall is a pretty historically accurate movie. I highly suggest that everyone, do check it out when you get the chance. It's free on YouTube right now. You can watch the whole movie. Just look up Downfall. Downfall is a very disturbing movie too, and it just shows the brainwashing in Germany at the time. It shows like just the people that are just willing to follow Hitler until like their country is pretty much on the verge of collapse, and they're still following him. Like they still somehow think that they're going to win. Like just how delusional these people are. Okay, let's get over here. Yeah, and that was the thing, is Hitler thought that he was some kind of military genius, but he was actually an idiot. Pro, have you been able to watch Dunkirk yet? No, I haven't gotten around to watching Dunkirk. The thing about this is Frederick the Great, who was leader of Prussia. Prussia was the largest German state. What happened was in the late 1700s, during the 7 Years' War, there was a war between Prussia and Russia, and Russia was actually surrounding surrounding Berlin. Like Prussia was about to fall, Frederick was going to lose. And what happened was, at the last moment before the Russians actually took Berlin, that Catherine, who was the Empress of Russia, died, and her nephew Peter III took over. Now, Peter III actually admired Prussia and Frederick, and so he called the war off against him, and he pulled all the troops out. And this saved Prussia and, you know, and Berlin from being conquered by the Russian Empire. Now, Hitler was so delusional that he was so obsessed with Frederick the Great, he thought that history was going to repeat itself again, and that somehow that was going to happen to him. Now, what happened was Franklin D. Roosevelt died, like a few weeks before Germany surrendered. And Hitler somehow thought that that was his Frederick the Great moment, and he thought that the U.S. was now going to negotiate with him. But he doesn't realize that in America there's a chain of command, and the vice president takes power next. And the vice, you know, Truman's not going to negotiate with you. He's got to be a complete idiot to think that the Allies are going to negotiate with him. He literally invaded almost every single European country and committed so many atrocities. And, you know, and to think that the Allies are somehow going to negotiate with him, no, they're going to take you out of power. They're not going to negotiate with you. And so that's how delusional Hitler was in his last few weeks. So I highly do recommend to watch Downfall. It is a pretty historically accurate movie. It's a pretty disturbing movie, though. It's a pretty violent movie, so it's got to warn people on that too. In your opinion, who was the strongest country in World War II? In 1940 until 1942, Germany. The strongest country after Germany, the Soviet Union, I would say.
Everyone, in here, please. There you go.
Thank you, Angry, for that super chat. Hey, Pro, you should run for president. I know you won't fall asleep at summit meetings. Well, thank you, Jimmy. Do you think the Saints are worse than any other gang in Stillwater? They are kind of bad, yeah. I don't think that the Saints are as bad as some of the other gangs, and the reason is because the Saints actually are friends and care about each other, where the other gangs, I wouldn't say that they're friends, they're constantly betraying each other. You missed my super chat, mind scrolling. Patrick, sure, JD, I'll take a look. I'm sorry if I missed your super chat. War never changes, man. Do Fallout franchise. I actually do want to do Fallout. That's actually on my list of games to do. Caravan escort, we'll do that.
Thank you. There's so much to do. This sickness in Armadillo.
Oh, it was a $5 super chat.
Decimating the town. They've had to start burning the bodies.
Oh, what was Germany and I'm sorry, I missed it. I guess I just didn't see it. What was Germany and Rising Sun's confidence levels in World War II start to end? Brave, cautious, and foolhardy are the present levels. Well, I would say that
people east out of the county. Those degenerate bastards keep on robbing them.
I wouldn't use the term brave, because brave implies that you're doing something heroic, where there was nothing heroic about what Germany and Japan was doing. But what I will say is that the best way to describe Germany, I would say, Germany and also Japan, is overconfidence. That's what I would describe them with. Their overconfidence and arrogance. Because they believed that somehow they were going to going to win, and Japan really messed up attacking America. They really did, because Japan thought that by taking out the American fleet at Pearl Harbor, that they were gonna cripple the U.S. Navy, and that the U.S. would have to negotiate with them. That was Japan was already fighting a massive war with China. They were fighting a war with China at the time, and they just opened up they opened up a war of America, and they opened up a front in Southeast Asia with the Dutch and the British now. So that was Hi, I'm Wovian927, the griefer. What I did, you deserve the money because I ruined it for everyone. And I did apologize to everyone that was involved, and Dev said it's fine, but overall, is there any possibility you can add me back? Thank you, Hoovian. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate the super chat. I will talk to Dev, and I will talk to Dev, and I will talk to Dev, and if Dev accepts your apology, if he does accept your apology, I'll talk to him later. Then I will consider adding you back. If Dev accepts your apology, but I would say is it's probably best that you take a break from the streams for some time, because you can't. I know you're sorry, but you know you can't do something like that. So that was just not okay last time. So I appreciate the donation, you know, and I appreciate the donation, but also, you know, people can't donate to me, and people cannot donate to me and then that everything's gonna be okay afterwards. It doesn't. I don't do things like that. But I will, like I appreciate the donation, but I will ask Dev. I'll talk to him, and if he accepts your apology, then I will. Then I'll consider adding you back. But if I do add you back, though, you know, don't join the streams for some time. Maybe in like a few months or so. Because you know we have rules, and there's just. Yeah, I know, Chaz. Do you understand that, Corey? Hoovian? No, he orbital cannoned our friend's cargo on a stream. Hey Patrick, happy Friday. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing good, Eric. Thank you for sponsoring my channel. But I will be talking to Dev. I'll talk to Dev when I get the chance. Corey, are you still here? I'll talk to Dev, and if Dev accepts your apology, I will add you back. But you're not. But only if Dev accepts your apology. But you don't play in the streams for a long time. It's like, because that was just not okay what you did last time. You can't make a donation and then you know you can't make a donation as a sorry. I don't know if that's what you're trying to do, but do you understand? Do you understand, Corey? Are you still here? Oh, he's free. He's free to join the chat. That's fine. But I'm talking about my lobbies. That's what I'm talking about more. I'm open to I'm open to giving second chances. That's just the type of person I am. But I just want to make it clear that it's, you know, you can't. I just want to make it clear that you cannot grief and then make a donation and think that it's gonna be, you know, okay. It's up to Dev. So I'm gonna talk to Dev, and then I think there was another person involved. Who was the other who was the other person that was involved, Fernando? It was Dev, and then there was another person that was that got griefed. Because there was two people that got griefed, I remember. Daniel and unconverting. Okay, so there's 3 people involved. Okay, Dev, Daniel, and unconverting. Okay, so I'm gonna be talking to Dev, Daniel, and unconverting. I'm gonna talk to them after the stream today, Corey. And if they, if all three, because they were the ones that got griefed by you, if all of them accept your apology, then I will add you back. But if they don't accept your apology, I'm not adding you back. I'm sorry. So it's up to them because they were the ones who had their cargo destroyed. So if they accept your apology and they hold no ill will, then I'll add you back. But it's up to them. You were asking to be orbed again if you add him back. Well, I'm open to second chances, and I want to be clear. This is not because of any super chat or anything like that. But it's up to those guys. It's up to those three guys. I'm gonna talk to those three guys after the stream, and I'm gonna talk to them in a party. And if they accept Hoovian's apology, then I'm willing to I'm willing to accept his apology too. But only if those three accept it, because they were the ones who had their cargo lost. But it's just you can't you can't do stuff like that, Hoovian. It's unacceptable. And Hoovian, I just want to make clear on this that if Deev, Unconverting, and Daniel do accept your apology, if they actually do, then you can hang out in the stream chats here, but don't join the streams like the lobbies itself for I'd say a few months at least. Because we have specific punishments. We don't tolerate stuff like that. I just haven't had a griefing incident in like over a year, and then that happened. So that was that's just my view on it. I have forgiven people for griefing in the past, but how I always do it is that if it's somebody else that got griefed, I always make it up to that person who got griefed if it's up to them. So so I will talk to them after the stream, Corey. I promise you on that. But it's gonna be up to them. So I hope you understand on that. Let me see. Look at the chat here now. I'm doing good, Eric. Thank you. And thank you. No GTA 6 this year, I don't think. Rockstar keeps talking about GTA Online like brand new. It's getting old seeing all attention on GTA Online. I think they'll reveal GTA 6 this year, Feline. I think they will. Thank you for the super chat. I'm sorry I cannot join your membership. It's fine, Lewis. You don't... Look, guys, here's what I'll say about this, is don't feel like you have an obligation to donate to me. Don't feel like you have to be a channel member or that you have to make a donation for me to read your comments. I will read your comment regardless of whether you donate to me or not. The only time I won't read somebody's comment is if it's something really stupid. That's the only time I won't read somebody's comment. But other than that, I will read pretty much every single person's comment and I'll answer their questions. I don't ever ask for donations, but the option to donate is there. But if people ever do donate, I do heavily appreciate it. It does help me out a lot. So just know, don't feel like you need to donate to me for me to be your friend or to play with me or hang out with me or or any of that stuff. But I try to add as many people as I can, and I will and play with as many people as I can. Pro, don't feel obligated to apologize for the GTA Dam video. You made an assumption based on evidence and turned it incorrect. Honest mistake. Well, thank you, bro. Thanks, man. Pro too humble for his own good. Thank you. Is it possible you can add me? Sure, Ronnie. I could add you, but I'll have to check how many spots I have on my friends list. But usually I try to add only 2 people per stream. But since you asked, I could probably try to add you, Ronnie. Just let me know what your name is, and I'll see if I can add you. Pro's as genuine as it gets. Happy Friday. Thank you, Young Hebrew. Thanks, man. But is Corey still here? Do you understand everything that I explained to you there, Corey? Go. Okay. Okay, Corey. Glad we understand each other then. I like Pro's passivism and how he gives chances. Not many streamers do that. Thank you, ADB. I do, you know, and I do give people multiple chances. Well, I give people most one chance. So I'll give people one chance after they do something bad. It depends, obviously, on what they did. But if they're truly sorry, I am willing to give people another chance. I do have a few people added on my friends list that did grief me in the past, and then they apologized, and they haven't done it ever since. But if somebody, you know, violates my trust twice, like I give them another chance, and then they do it again, at that point, I never add them back again. That's just it for me at that point. I know I said something similar, but have you had an encounter where a person used a strong mental slur towards you? I had this idiot. Okay, so I'll explain to you guys. I'll tell you guys a really stupid story of something that happened to me. This is regarding this. The slur comment. Something that happened to me once on Call of Duty Vanguard. So basically, I was playing Call of Duty Vanguard. This is maybe like a year ago. And so what happens is we're playing a domination match. Now, we go up against a try-hard team in the domination match. What happened was I was playing with one of my friends, and one guy on my team was being sexist to her. He was, like, saying, you know, toxic things to her. And I got on the mic, and I called him an idiot. And then he started talking crap to me, and so we both muted the idiot. And what ended up happening is, when we were, like, halfway through the match, the other team was, like, you know, over 80 points ahead of us. You know, we were going for a loss. I unmuted that idiot, and I said, "Are you going to help take flags at all?" And then he started talking crap to me a second time, and he said to me, "Well, you're the idiot who decided to mute me instead of working together as a team." And I said to him, "I muted you because you were saying toxic, sexist things to my friend, and you wouldn't stop. And so you deserve to get muted." And then what? Do you know what the guy then started doing? The guy then started calling me a Polish piece of blank, and then he started calling me a dumb P word, the slur for Polish people, because my name is Polish Mercenary on PlayStation. And he just kept calling me a dumb, you know, P over and over again. And what happened was, I said to him, I called him a racist at that point. And he says to me on the mic, he says, "You can't be racist against Polish people." And I said to him, "What the hell are you talking about? You literally just called me a dumb P, like, over and over, and you called me a Polish piece of, that's not racism?" And he's like, "No, it's not racism." I'm like, "How is that not racism? That's clearly racism." But it's just, you know, the guy was just a complete idiot. And that's one of the things where I encountered somebody that was just throwing so many slurs at me, and it was just such a toxic, it was such a toxic experience. Can't make it tonight, sorry man. I'm with my cousin. Can we chat in a party though after stream about the news article? You got time? Blinded Eagle, after the stream, I'm gonna make dinner. Because I'm really hungry. But after I have dinner, I could chat with you in a party if you're still on. If you're not on, we could chat tomorrow then. Thank you for the super chat. There's a dangerous glitch in GTA Online. What's the dangerous glitch? Anyone can be racist, Mario. Anyone can be racist, and anyone can be racist against any people, any race. And yeah, so anyone can be racist. You know, anyone can. And when I hear people using clear slurs against Polish people and then saying, "Oh, that's not racist," it is racist. So anyone can be racist.
Swear to God, when I get free.
When there's 10 minutes left, deliver the target. Wait, what are you talking about, Sir Hayes? Has a boss ever been so scummy you missed something like a funeral? Sorry if that has happened, by the way. I hope it's not too sensitive to you. Yes. Not to that extreme where I miss a funeral. That hasn't happened. But basically, here's what happened is, when I worked at my retail job, and hi Patrick, how are you? I will never grieve cargo. Well, thank you, Caliber. So when I worked in retail, there was I would cover multiple shifts for people. So multiple times would I cover shifts for people, and I covered shifts for people all the time. So I would come in my days off when people just didn't, when they called out. And what happened is there was one day that I told my boss like 3 weeks in advance, and he wasn't able to give me a day off. And the day it was either Easter or it was the day before Easter. I think it might have been Easter, but I remember it was like a specific church service. Now my mother is a pretty religious woman. I'm not a religious person. I'm an agnostic, but I still like to go, you know, to make my mom happy. And so I told my mom that I promised my mom that I would go with her that day. And what happened is, even though I told my manager like 3 weeks beforehand, my manager would not give me a day off that day. And what ended up happening is I told my manager, can you find someone to cover for me? And my manager said, no, that's your responsibility. You find someone to cover for you. And while I would normally agree that it was my responsibility, the reason I asked my manager to find somebody is because whenever people would call out, they wouldn't show up to work, my manager would be the one that would text me and say, this person didn't come into work, can you come in now? So he would constantly find other people for other people who didn't show up to work. He would be the one texting, but yet he did not give me that same luxury. Even though I never called out, I always came in on time. So he did it for other people, but he wouldn't do it for me. And I got a bit annoyed with him at that point. He was mostly nice to me in other regards, but I got a bit pissed at him for that. And what ended up happening is that day I was working, and there was nobody at the store. Like, it was a holiday, it was Easter. There was nobody at the store. The store is pretty much, you know, dead. There was nobody in the parking lot, and I finished all my work. I finished everything. There was nothing else for me to do. I stocked all shelves. I unpacked everything. There's literally nothing left for me to do. And what happened is I text my manager and I say to him, because he's not even working that day, I text him, can I go? There's other people here, and I have finished all my tasks. And my manager says it's not up to me, it's up to the supervisor. So then I talk to the supervisor, and I say to her, can I leave? I finished all my work. And she starts, you know, basically giving me an attitude. She says, your shift is not over yet, you gotta finish. I'm like, I finished all my work. Do you want me to sit here and do nothing and collect free money? It's like, you know, you can't leave right now, you have to go. And my friend was working that day, and my friend said, you know, you can go, Patrick, it's fine. I can take care of everything. You know, go. And so what ends up happening is, eventually the supervisor says, okay, fine, go. Just go. That's what she says to me. And so I got my coat, I left, and I went to church with my mom for Easter. Now, what ends up happening is, that supervisor went up to my friend and said to, he said to my friend, you know, I bet he's not really going to church with his mom. He's just lying. He just wants to go home and just relax. That's what he wants to do. That's what she told my friend. My friend told me that she told him that after I had left. And so it's like, wow, that was just that. It was like just toxicity like that in the workplace. But that's yeah. Let me see here. I think I missed a few chats here. Let me see here. Because when I tell my story, sometimes I miss a lot of comments. I apologize for that. Yes, I might check that game out, Bori.
Damn it.
Let me see here. Okay, what, and let me see, I'm just trying to scroll back, like, back all the way before I started telling my story to see if I missed any comments here.
Shit.
Okay, oh, and I'll answer your question in a moment, on that. Thanks for answering my question last time. I'm going to protect my students from that, bio professor. I'll make sure my students win this. Well, I hope everything goes well with your case. Thank you, suspect. Thank you, suspect, for 13. Have I ever yelled at a customer? Kind of. I will answer that in a little bit here. But yeah, basically, I had that supervisor talking behind my back. You know, stuff like that. And the thing is, though, is that supervisor, here's the thing about that, is I was talking, when I was, the last year that I was working at my job, right, my channel had taken off. And my channel, I was at pretty much, what was I? I was like 400,000 subscribers, 400,000, somewhere around there, 500,000, like the last year of my job that I was working in retail. And so what happened was, I was talking about my channel to like a few friends of mine, right, that are at work. And so apparently this got around that I had like a channel, right? And what happened is, I was really excited for my channel. And, you know, my friends at work were very supportive of my channel. You know, they were like, you know, do what you like best, and like, you know, very proud of you and stuff like that. But that supervisor that, remember that I told you talked behind my back, she said to me one time when I came into work, she said to me, oh, look, it's Mr. I don't need this job anymore. Why aren't you working on your channel right now? That's what she said to me. And I was like, what? Like, I didn't really respond to her like that. But whenever I talked to my friends about my channel, I never showed off. I never said that I was better than anyone. I never did anything like that. I was just happy for my channel. But she, I don't know what, if it was jealousy or what, she just said that to me once. And that was just a bit toxic. And that was just, yeah, not a nice supervisor that I had. To answer your question on that, Glover, he was not a good man. His group had committed atrocities against Polish people during World War II. So I just don't think that he was a good man. Once last year, I was a freshman. You fought a kid because he was verbally harassing you, and got shoved to a wall and punched, and they suspended me because it was fair. Almost threatened to leave school. Did the other person get suspended too, Blinded Eagle?
These damn ropes up on me.
Well, Sir Hayes, what I'll tell you about this is, do you know what a lot of Europeans actually find weird about America? When you go into an American store, do you know what's different about cashiers in American stores versus cashiers in European stores? Does anybody actually know the answer to this?
I want no part.
And about me yelling at a customer, I will answer that in a little bit here. Al-Qatala, the Killers Translated, in Modern Warfare 2019 and Modern Warfare 2 feel more like a raider organization union than terrorists because they are extremely ruthless. Well, I mean, terrorists are some of the worst human beings out there. Thank you for that super chat, JD. And also, Sir Hayes, don't worry, because I'm gonna talk to him after the stream, and we're gonna work everything out. They aren't friendly, right? No, it's not. It's not about. Just deliver the target then.
You're not getting away with this.
The difference between European and American cashiers? You got that reward. In Europe, cashiers sit. In America, cashiers stand. That's the difference between it. And that's a massive problem. I think cashiers should be able to sit. If you are working, that long, you should be able to sit. If you can do your job at the register sitting, why are you not allowed to sit? That's not good for your joints. It's not good for your legs. So that's so you should be able to sit. If you are a cashier, you should be able to I say that you should be able to sit. That's wanted at now for people wondering why are American cashiers not allowed to sit? It's because it's seen as a form of laziness. If you sit, even if you can do your job entirely by sitting, it's seen as a form of laziness if you sit. And so that's why cashiers aren't allowed to sit. The only exception to this are office workers, but cashiers are not allowed to sit. Also, here's what I'll tell you guys about retail places. I've mentioned this a few times before, but this is important to this. If you are working in my country, in the United States, if you work in retail, right? If you work in retail, the most common law that companies break. The most common law they break, and I've seen my place of employment break this law so many times. They've broken this law so many times. And that is this. They break laws. So they don't let you go on break. And here's what I recommend. Whenever you start any kind of new job, make sure that you research your state's break laws. Find out exactly what your state's break laws are. Find out exactly when you're allowed to take a break, after how many hours in, and how long are you allowed to take a break in, and see if you have a paid 15-minute, because a lot of states also have a paid 15-minute break, depending on how long you work. So you might have multiple breaks allowed by your state. And find out what that is, exactly. Because what's going to happen is companies are going to take advantage of you, and they're not going to let you go on break. And the thing about this, do you know what's pissed me off the most about this? Is companies will guilt trip you. They will guilt trip you. Managers will guilt trip you on taking your break. They will do that. Now, what do I mean by them guilt tripping you? And if anybody in the comments, if you have experienced this, what I'm about to say, let me know in the comments, because I would love to hear your stories on this. But what the managers will do typically in retail, because I've seen this multiple times. It's happened to me multiple times. What they will do is say you're working 4 hours in. 4 hours in, you're hungry, you want to go on break, right? You tell your manager, hey, I've been here 4 hours, I want to go on break. Manager will try to guilt trip you to prevent you from going on break, and manager will just basically say, you can't go on break right now. You can't go on break. We are, we're busy right now. If you go on break, we're gonna fall behind. You're gonna screw everyone else over. You're gonna put more work on us. You can't go on break right now. Go on break later. They will always do that. They'll try to guilt trip you. They'll say you can't go on break right now. You'll put more work on other people. Has that happened to anyone? Manager done that to them? Because I've seen that happen multiple times where manager will say, oh, you can't go on break right now. You'll put more work on us and stuff like that. I had a manager once tell me, a manager once told me I don't go on break. And I actually said, that was one of the few times I stood up to myself and I said, that's you. You don't go on break, but I have a right to go on break. So just because you don't go on break, don't expect me to not go on break. And the thing is, the manager really has no right to say that because the manager gets to sit in the office. So they get to sit while they're working, where the cashiers don't get to sit while they're working. We have to stand for 8 hours. So that's my manager said if I took a day off, my team will be understaffed. And you know what you should tell your manager? You should tell your manager, why don't you hire more people? Tell your manager that. Because I can't stand that excuse when they say, oh, we're understaffed. It's like, well, why don't you hire more people then? It's because they're too cheap to hire more people. They think they can hire just like 3 people to do the job of 6 people instead. And so they're too cheap. Just tell them that. Tell them that. If your manager says, oh, we're going to be understaffed, to say, well, why aren't you going to hire more people? Just say that. Don't let yourself be taken advantage of. I had to work a 12-hour shift once without a break, so I had to chuck Red Bulls. Oh, man. I'm sorry that that happened to you, Dead Star. But, what I'll say is also, another thing that a lot of managers do at retail places is, oh, don't worry, I quit. Oh, okay. Well, that's good, too. Another thing that managers will do at retail places is the promotion scam. Does anybody here know what the promotion scam is? Does anybody know what that is? I consider it a scam. I actually do think it's a scam. And I'll explain why I consider it a scam. My conscience is too low to fall for guilt trips. So, well, I guess that's good. You don't allow yourself to get taken advantage of, JD. And thank you, are you thinking about playing Spider-Man eventually? That cosplay gonna be fire. Also, there's some stealth missions as MJ and Miles in the first game. It's a tough, so I'd advise you use a guide for most of them. Thank you, Blinded Eagle. I will look into playing those games. One day I might play them. Maybe I'll do a playthrough of the very old Spider-Man games too one day. Yes, Megatron there has got it right. Megatron's got it right on that. Okay, so, that's basically what the promotion scam is. Here's the thing. If you are working in retail, right? If you're working in retail, and you only work there for a few months, and after working there for a few months, your manager basically says to you, you're doing a really good job. I'd like to promote you to supervisor. Do you know what the first thing that you do in that situation is when your manager says that to you? Because that might be a scam. What you do to your... a lot of people fall for it because the manager says, I want to promote you to a supervisor. People fall for it. I never fell for it because I felt that something was off. But, what basically to tell whether it's a scam or not, you know how you tell whether it's a scam or not? Just simply ask your manager, what will my pay increase be? Just ask them that because that will throw them off. That will throw them off. Because most managers, they expect you to just basically say, okay, I'll take the position. They'll just say, I'll accept it right away. Without even thinking. Like, oh, I want to promote you, and they'll accept it. Just ask them, what is the pay increase going to be? And that will really throw them off when you ask them that. Because that has actually happened at my job. At my job, they tried to promote me several times, but I always refused. I was offered a promotion several times as supervisor, but I refused. Why did I refuse? Because I didn't feel that the pay was worth it, was worth the promotion. Now, I'll give you an example why. My job was a store associate when they were trying to promote me. As a store associate, I was responsible for stocking shelves, organizing shelves, helping customers on the floor, and running registers because I wasn't the cashier at the time, I was more the guy on the floor, but when they would need me on the registers, I would be there. Now, with a supervisor, I would be doing all of those. I would still be stocking shelves, I'd be helping customers on the floor, I would have to ring the register when they needed, but I would also have to count the money in the safe. I would have to do inventory. I would have to stock things. I would have to count overstock. I'd have to go with a scanner. I'd be responsible for price changes. I'd be responsible for opening and closing the store. I would be responsible for dealing directly with customer complaints, because as a store associate, I didn't deal with customer complaints, but as a supervisor, I'd have to. So I have to do all that stuff, plus I would have to be responsible for truck nights. I'd have to be responsible for the truck coming in, managing with the truck driver, unloading this huge heavy truck. I would have to be responsible for corporate visits. Someone corporate would come in the store. I'd be responsible for opening the store and dealing with corporate directly and having the store completely ready for that crap. And for all that extra work, do you know what they were going to give me for all that extra work? They're going to give me like $1.25 for all that extra work. That's what they were going to give me. And most people, they just take the promotion. They don't even think about this. They just think, oh, I get $1 more an hour, and they just take it. They don't. But what they don't think about is they don't think about the extra work that you get for an hour. And that's why I consider it a scam. I consider it a scam because they're throwing all this extra work on you for just a very minuscule raise, for such a small raise. If you're going to promote me to a supervisor and you're going to expect all that extra crap from me, I'm expecting at least $5 more an hour. I'm not going to get promoted to a supervisor for like $1.25 and run around for you people. Like I am responsible for opening it and running the store and closing the store. I'm responsible for running this huge store which makes thousands of dollars in a day. And you're going to be paying me what? A few dollars over minimum wage to do that? Seriously? And they expect these supervisors to run the store perfectly? Like, they're stupid. Like, that's how cheap corporate is. So that's what I'll say is, when you work in retail, if they try to promote you to a supervisor, ask them, what will my raise be? If the raise is like $5 or $6 more an hour, do it. You know, it's worth it at that point. But if they're only going to give you like $1.25, even $2, they're not going to give you more than that for being a supervisor, don't take that. That's not worth the extra labor. I'd rather make like $1.25 less an hour, but not have like 100 things over my head to do. So that's why I consider it a scam. I think it is a scam of them trying to do that. And the thing is, the management at my store got really frustrated. They got really frustrated because they tried to promote me several times. Several times they would try to promote me to supervisor, but I kept turning them down. I said nope, nope, no, and I could tell they were getting annoyed. But they couldn't do anything. They couldn't promote me to supervisor if I didn't want to be supervisor, because I didn't. So that was it. I'd rather be a store associate, make a little bit less, but not have to deal with a headache every time. I got a $25 gift card for being employee of the month. Well, I don't know if you consider that bad, or bad or good, Chaz. But at my job, I got a $5 gift card. That's what I got for the for being employee of the month. So I guess it's not that good of a reward, but it's still better than $5. It's a scam. When I was promoted to manager, I got a whole 50 cents. What? 50 cents extra for being a manager? No. That's even worse. And I thought $1.25 was a scam. That's even worse. Yeah, and I'll tell you this, I'll tell you this, the last year that I was at my job, do you know what I started doing? I started quiet quitting the last year that I was at my job. Now, that term didn't exist yet in 2019, but that's pretty much what I was doing. I wish it wasn't called quiet quitting, though, because quiet quitting sounds like you're lazy. I wish the term was more of acting your wage. I wish that's what the term should be. But basically, for people that don't know what quiet quitting is, that's pretty much when you act within your job description. So find out what your job description is and just do your job description. Don't do less, but don't do more. Don't be lazy, but just do what your job description is. And when people want you to do something outside of your job description, don't do it. You don't have to, because it's not part of your job description. And so that's really what I started doing, like, the last year of working. I started honestly doing that. So I would just do my tasks, but I would not go above and beyond. And that was like my way to protest against the company. So that's what I started doing, and it's not lazy. It's not like at all, because you're not allowing yourself to be taken advantage of. Because if you go above and beyond for a company, you work really hard for a company, and they don't give you a raise for working really hard for them, and they just continue to screw you over, why should you go above and beyond for these people? That's not okay. That's unacceptable. Oh, I played Spider-Man 2. That was a really fun game. And that was the first open-world Spider-Man game, too. PSA for all non-PS Plus members. You will have a free PS Plus this weekend for GTA Online, Modern Warfare 2, and NBA, so take advantage while you can. Oh, okay. That's nice, though, that they allow you to play certain games. They allow you to play certain games on, they allow you to play certain games for free. And thank you, Anton and Blinded Eagle. What did you get for lunch in retail? Well, my retail place did not provide for my lunch. What I would have for lunch, I would have a tuna sandwich sometimes. Sometimes I would have a, sometimes I'd have fast food. Other times, what would I have? Pizza. That's what I typically had most of the time. Yes, Siphon Filter 3 is on PlayStation. And the Siphon Filter 2's boss, I hated him. Because that was one of the, not even the boss battle, but I just hated that character. I just found him to be such a scummy of a person. What would be your top 3 businesses on Reddit Online? Number 1, I would say, would probably be Collector. Because Collector will just, Collector will just, really easy. You can use the map and you can make hundreds of dollars. Second, I would say Moonshine. Because Moonshine, you buy the mash and you get ingredients and it produces. And Trader, you have to find more stuff and you have to find supplies and hunting stuff. Thank you, Hambugler. But, Carter, are you still here in chat by any chance? I beat Siphon Filter 3 recently. Oh, thank you, Aussie guy. I beat Siphon Filter 3 out of the Platinum. It's actually really easy. All you have to do is just beat the game. And thank you, Blinded Eagle. What's a PS exclusive you want to play? What's good about it? Days Gone. Days Gone is a PlayStation exclusive that I really liked. You take the most gold with the bounty hunter? Well, if you wait it out, yes, you do. Let me see about, getting to my moonshine business. How you feel about managers making you do work off the clock? Happened to me yesterday, and I said it's either you pay me or I leave. And you took a stand, Outcast, and you did the right thing. That's what you're supposed to do. Here's the thing, if your managers say, you know, if your managers say they're not going to pay you after your shift ends, and they're going to say no overtime, but they still expect you to work, you just leave. Because you're working for free at that point. That's illegal what they're doing. I don't know if I would put it 90%, JD. It's a little bit less than, that, but yeah, you should probably stop at the checkpoints when you get the chance.
This batch is perfect. We can ship it. So, what shall we create?
Oh, here we go. Okay.
I was wondering when you were going to get here. This is a good batch, of course. They are all good batches, but this one is superior, eh? I have found a buyer who will appreciate it, and most important, they will pay for it too. Now, all you have to do is to be attentive, eh? Seigneur.
Imagine a Red Dead Redemption 2 movie adaptation. That would be great. Oh yeah, and they could get Roger Clark to actually play Arthur Morgan. I think he would actually do a decent job too. Now, and here's the thing is, I would say, and this doesn't just apply to jobs, but also applies to outside of jobs. There's nothing wrong with doing favors for people, but only do favors for people that you know are willing to return it. You don't even have to ask them for a favor, but just only do favors for people that you know will help you and will return it, and that they are grateful. Because you have no obligation to do anybody a favor. A favor is optional. You have no obligation to do it for somebody. But I'll tell you guys something. I'm gonna give you guys a piece of advice here. That was this piece of advice. This has helped me so much, and it's helped me filter out a lot of toxic people in my life. So this piece of advice works all the time for me. I have never had it fail for me. Do you know how to tell whether somebody's taking advantage of you? There's a really easy way to tell whether somebody's taking advantage of you, and it works in every single situation when they're asking you for a favor. Here's what you do. This is how you filter out the toxic people. When somebody asks you for a favor, and it's the first time they've asked you for a favor, right? Help them with whatever favor they need. Just help them. Don't complain, just help them. And then what you do is, when you need help with something, immediately call on that person and ask them for a favor. I'm gonna go here, there, yeah, there's... So what you're gonna do is help the person out with their favor when they need it, and then when you need help with something, ask that person for a favor. Even if you don't completely need their help, just ask them for a favor. Just to see how they respond. Just see how they respond when you ask them for help. Just see what the response is. And if they come and help you right away, no questions asked, then they weren't taking advantage of you. They actually needed help with what they needed help with. They appreciated it, and they're coming to help you. That's a friend that you want to keep. If that person says to you, starts giving you excuses, and they say to you, oh, I'm busy now, I can't do it right now, at the moment I can't help you, I'm sorry, then do you know what you do at that point? You say to them this. You say to them, okay, when are you going to be free? When are you not going to be busy? That's what you say to them. Just say that, because that will really throw them off. If they say, I can't help you, I'm busy, just say, when are you not going to be busy? What day are you going to be free to help me? And if they give you more excuses at that point, that's proof that they were taking advantage of you. And get that person out of your life. And don't help that person. And whenever that person asks for a favor next time, don't be toxic or anything to them, but just say to them, I can't, I'm busy. The exact same thing they said to you. Just say the exact same thing to you. You don't have to justify yourself. Just say, I can't, I'm busy. That's it. So if they're gonna pull that crap on you, do it to them. That's what I've done, and I've done that so many times. Is that I was able to tell Lily who's being a scumbag and who's not. It works. Remember, when they ask you for a favor, help them, and then when you need a favor, just ask them for help. If they give you an excuse and they say I'm busy, just ask them what day are you free, and if they give you a second excuse at that point, they were using you. That's worked. You're always welcome to my chat parties on PSN anytime. You know me, lovely. I was wondering, will you play Outlast Trials in October or in this future? Is it already out? Lovely. Thank you for the super chat. Is Outlast Trials already out?
What do you think you're doing?
On PC, but it's not out on console yet? Favorite food is sushi. Pro, opinions on colleagues who are super nice to you on the first day. I've encountered people who were very nice to me on the first day, but then I've seen what scumbags they are later on. So don't... When you want to develop, like, your thoughts on somebody, like, you know, what kind of person they are, it's not something that you're gonna figure out in a day. To figure out what type of person somebody is, it's gonna be weeks of you, working with that person to figure out what kind of person they really are. Do we have any events coming up? Like anything, like any PvP events coming up? Any of that stuff? No problem, Mobinator. Oh! No, I want to... Tie him up, okay. No, I want to... Okay, I guess I'm taking him like this then. Have I been to Ohio before? Yes, I have. I've stopped in Ohio, to eat, but I didn't spend much time in the state. I drove through Ohio. Because to get to the place that I live to in the Midwest, you have to drive through Ohio. But no, I don't live in Ohio. Oh, okay. And thanks, Mobinator. Okay. Oh, thank you, Jonathan. Hey, Pro, good day. The last games that I played are on PS2, but as I watch your last playthroughs, I feel that I also playing them like GTA 4 and Saints Row 2. Thank you, Jonathan. I'm gonna be doing some older games in July. Now, do you know what we're gonna be doing in July? We've been playing a lot of crime games, but in July, do you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do a law enforcement game in July, a cop game. But I don't know what cop game we're gonna do yet. But I will put a bunch of things to vote. And the games that I'm gonna put to vote on that is we're gonna put Battlefield Hardline, Ghost Recon Wildlands, which technically that's not cops, but it's still, I would still consider it, I guess, some form of law enforcement because you're fighting the cartels and taking them down. So Battlefield Hardline, Ghost Recon Wildlands, Urban Chaos, Riot Response, and SWAT. Those are the 4 games. I'll put those to a poll, and I'll ask people what game they want me to play in July, and that will be the, and whatever game wins that poll is what we'll play. Yeah, we didn't make it on here. Oh well. No LA Noir. Well, actually, we could add LA Noir to the list possibly, but LA Noir is probably gonna win that. Yeah, LA Noir is definitely gonna win if I put that on there. We could play LA Noir afterwards. And yes, Raj, I mean SWAT 4. Have you seen the movie Hacksaw Ridge? And if you did, what do you think of the pointless holdout of Yoshina and the pacifist Desmond Moss. Well, I will. I haven't seen the movie, but I know about. I haven't seen the movie, but I know about the story of Das. That he just didn't want to fight, but he was a very heroic medic, and he saved a lot of lives, and he earned his squad's respect. They all loved him. Okay. Do we have any PvP events coming up right now? Let me see here. I'm just gonna look it up. Let's see, Red Dead Online events. Free mode events. I have been using Opera GX, and I actually really like the browser. I think Opera GX is a great browser. I have the San Andreas theme on it right now. But it's a gaming browser that I use. Let me put it in the, I put this, if anybody wants to check this out, this is the new browser that I've been using. They were a sponsor of my videos, too. And, it's actually a pretty fast browser and a cool one. Please put Fall Guys up for vote. I could do that, Fernando. I don't know what the game is, but I could look into it. Hey, Pro, if and when you play Wildlands, are you gonna, play by yourself or play with others? Also, could I possibly join you on Red Dead to hang out? Sure, Jelly, anyone can hang out with me. Yeah, I heard about that, Ryan. Oh, and let me look up the Red Dead events, right? Let's see, what... Oh, no, there's no other events. Not for another 2 hours, yeah. Okay. Let's go into poker. Public buy-in, here we go. Oh, no, come on. This again. Yeah, it glitched out, okay. Okay. Guys, I just had to restart my game because I wanted to play poker, but it's not,
Oh, no problem.
It glitched out. He was trying to go play poker. It glitched out on him.
Yeah, it happens multiple times. Okay. Okay. My favorite food is sushi. Good lore video you put out. Thank you, man. Yes, I have, Preston. I pretty much eat any kind of sushi. It really doesn't matter to me. Fallout 4 was an okay game, but I didn't feel like it was as good as the other Fallout games. I think the other Fallout games were much better games. The dialogue really wasn't good in Fallout 4. Public, fine, okay, here we go. Wait, Pro, hear me out now. Since you said cop games, play Lego City Uncover. It's basically Lego GTA, but you play as a cop and it's got some humor. You also missed a previous super chat. I did? Thank you, Blinded Eagle. I don't know if I'll play a Lego game, but I'll look into it. Ryan, thank you for that super chat. Yeah, there's possibility of I think I might do Wildlands solo, by the way, Jelly, but I'll have to see. And yeah, Ryan, there might be a coup going on right now in Russia. We're gonna have to see what happens. Do you know Wisconsin? Yes, I've been to Wisconsin before. Yes, I would be down to play Medal of Honor Allied Assault. I might be canceled for playing cop games? What? Why? Well, thank you, Diego. We're gonna have to see what's gonna happen there. What's the difference between a civil war and a revolution? Sometimes a revolution is a civil war, but it's sometimes a revolution can be without a civil war. Sometimes a revolution can be peaceful.
Here, Jebediah woke up in the stable this morning with fangs around his ankles. Nothing new under the sun.
Pro, from a law enforcement perspective, how would you improve the criminal justice system? Here's what I would do. First of all, repeat offenders would have their sentences. They would get much, much more. So literally, I would even consider possibly doubling the sentence of somebody. So if somebody commits the same crime again, they're arrested, that I would honestly possibly consider doubling the sentence of them. Maybe half of what their first sentence, the first sentence, and then an extra half on top of it, of what the original punishment is supposed to be, and not letting these dangerous people out of prison. Like, because the problem is that these jails, these courts let these really dangerous people out all the time, like repeat offenders. Like in New York, for example, you have people that have been arrested like 40-something times for stealing, and they're constantly being released from jail. It's like, how is this person not in jail after being arrested 40 times for stealing? That actually happens. I'm not exaggerating it. People have been arrested 40 times for stealing in New York and have gotten out. And so don't release these repeat offenders. I don't know why they constantly keep doing that, but don't release these repeat offenders. Now, when it comes to drugs, here's what I would do about drugs. If I was in charge of the entire the entire country, right? What I would do is, for marijuana, I would do a nationwide referendum, so all 50 states. And I would just ask people, like, do you want this to be legalized or not? And it would just be up to the people. You know, I'm fine with either one. Whatever the people choose on that, I would be fine with. I don't like marijuana personally, but I don't think it's as dangerous as the and I don't smoke it either, for people wondering. But I don't like it. I just think it's a stupid drug, but I don't think it's as dangerous as the I don't think it's as dangerous as some of the other crap that's out there. But the other stuff, I would definitely keep that illegal. But what I would do about, like, the hard drugs... Oh, he folded. Well, thank you. The hard drugs, like coke, heroin, meth. Here's what I would do about that stuff. If, under my law, if you're caught with, like, heroin, right? You're not going to be sent to jail. Only if you have heroin intent to distribute. Intent to distribute is very differently than being an addict. Intent to distribute means that you're selling, you're a drug dealer. So if you are carrying enough that you're intending to distribute, you're intending to sell, put that person in prison and very strong punishments for that. Drug dealers, I would make much harsher sentences for dealing drugs. Now, for an addict, I wouldn't just let them free. So I wouldn't send them to jail, but I wouldn't let them free either. What I would do is for addicts, if somebody was found with heroin, they're like a heroin addict, what I would do is I would put that person up in front of a judge, and I would give that person 2 choices. And choice number 1 is that you go to rehab. You go to rehab, the government will take care of it. We will, pay for your rehab. And once you complete the rehab program, you will not have any kind of criminal record. It won't affect your life at all. You'll have a clean record. If you refuse to go to the rehab, then we will send you to jail. That's what I'll do. And I personally think that would probably be a good way to help a lot of addicts, because you would tell them, here, we're sending you to rehab. If you want to go, you go. You get yourself clean. If they refuse to go to rehab at that point, that's saying that they're refusing to admit that they have a problem and they don't want to get cleaned up. And at that point, I'd send them to jail. But if they want to get cleaned up and they don't want to, be addicted, then I would just send them to rehab and just clean them up. And so I think that's probably a better way to deal with it, because if you just send people who are addicted to drugs to jail, that's not really going to fix the problem, because somebody's not going to break their addiction by being in jail. But if you're offering somebody help and they don't want to take that help, then I would personally send that person to jail at that point. That's just what I would do personally. Do you guys like that idea? But that's what I would personally do to deal with the drug crap, the drug situation. Let's see here. Put this on here. Somebody probably has a flush, by the way. Yeah, somebody definitely has a flush, but I'm still going to risk this. I knew it, he had a flush, yeah. Damn. Well, Dead Star, thank you for the super chat, but I don't want to get into hypotheticals right now, especially on that. It's just a really horrible time period in history. And it's just, But what I'll tell you is that, here's the thing is that when I was in college, I'm gonna talk. I guess this is probably a little bit political, but when I was in college, do you know what political party I associated myself with the most? I agreed with the most. It was the Libertarian Party. That was the party that I agreed with the most. Economically, politically, just individual freedom. But what I will say is that I changed my mind on a lot of things, and like one of the things that libertarians don't seem to understand is they don't understand a lot about drugs, because they think that by making all drugs legal, that it's just going to fix all these problems, when it's actually going to make the situation much worse. I think the solution is somewhere in the middle. Is you don't arrest people for being addicted to drugs, for having drugs on them. You don't arrest them for that. You just force them to complete rehab. But you increase punishments for dealers, people who deal that garbage, that poison. You increase punishments for that. No, libertarians. It's people don't know the libertarian. It's not. It's a different term. It's not liberal. It's libertarian. But it's libertarians value individual freedom. That's what they do. Let's see here what we go through. But the only reason I don't talk politics, but the only reason I'm mentioning it here is because I'm just mentioning it how they're wrong on drug laws. I agree with libertarians and other things, but when it comes to drug laws, I don't think they're right on that. I think they're wrong on it. Because these dealers, these dealers are just dealing poison on the streets. And if you legalize drugs, the situation would just get much worse. I think it's increased punishments for dealers, but to stop arresting people for drug possession. I think that would probably be the middle ground. Have I watched the show The Wire? No, I haven't. Team Mac, thank you for the super chat. The thing is, a lot of people actually a lot of people actually point to Portugal, right? People point to Portugal all the time, and they say Portugal has legalized all drugs, and so therefore it works in Portugal. But do you know what Portugal has actually done? Portugal has decriminalized drug possession. They haven't legalized drugs. Heroin and meth and coke are still illegal in Portugal. Portugal has just decriminalized drug possession, meaning that if you get arrested, if you get caught with drugs in Portugal, if you're like a drug dealer and you're caught dealing heroin in Portugal, you're going to get arrested. If you are caught with, like, you know, a needle of heroin and you're an addict, you're not going to get arrested for that. But the government is going to require you to do a rehab program. That's what they're going to. And I personally think that's the better way to go about it. But drug dealers in Portugal still get arrested. There's a lot of misinformation regarding Portugal in this regard.
Damn horse picked me off again, so I killed it. Well, mercy me.
Okay. I'm going to fold. I don't got any good cards here.
Work, work, work. A little whiskey in between.
These are actually really good cards.
Valentine's curse. I heard tell about that.
Well, the thing about it is Portugal is very strict in its laws, and that definitely has some effect.
So, then... Oh, yes?
He went up against me with those cards. Singapore is very strict in their laws. Very, very strict. Oh, I'm gonna win. Yes. Got you. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing about Portugal is I'm gonna leave right now because I got all my money here, and I'm probably gonna keep playing. I'm gonna lose more. But about Singapore now. Singapore is very strict in their laws, which definitely has some effect, but that's not the main reason that they have such little crime. It's not because of their strict laws. It's actually because Singapore has some of the highest living standards in the world. That's why Singapore has better living standards than America. So people in Singapore make more than the average American does. And so the country has very high living standards, and because of that, you're going to have a lot less crime. When people are not living in poverty, when people have a lot of opportunity and they have a lot of more money, and they're not living in poverty, they are much less likely to commit crimes and resort to crimes. And so that's the main reason that crime is so low in Singapore. It's because of their, it's because people have very high living standards there. That's pretty much the reason. Now, if you look at another country, if you look at Norway, for example, Norway has very high living standards too, but has a very, how would I say, forgiving justice system. You know, their prisons are almost like hotels. I'm not trying to insult Norway by saying that, but just from my perspective as an American, that's the way I see it. Their prisons are almost like hotels. Like, the Norwegian prisons actually are nicer than how some Americans live. That's how nice the Norwegian prison cells are. If you don't believe me, just look up Norwegian prison cell on Google. Look up what the cell looks like. But that's but Norway has a very low crime rate. But Norway has a very low crime rate, just like Singapore. And Singapore has very strict laws, and Norway has very, you know, lenient laws. But the reason that both countries have such low crime is because of the high living standards. Because Norway and Singapore, people have very high living standards, and when people have very high living standards, there's when people have very high living standards, there's a lot less likely to commit crimes. They're a lot less likely to resort to crime. Isn't that the YouTuber who cheated on Call of Duty?
Go find a better shopping partner.
Change your mind?
Pro, hello from Singapore. Oh, you're in Singapore, Chester. Well, Chester, do you know that I actually played a game that was set in Singapore? You might want to look it up on my channel. Go on my channel and just look this up, Chester. Look up Medal of Honor Singapore, because Medal of Honor Rising Sun, it takes place during World War II, where you fight the Japanese in that one, and there's a mission in Singapore. So check that one out and let me know what you think of it. If you leave a comment on it, I'll reply to you later. But what's up, Mr. Waifu? It's also low because the Singapore law system is very frontier justice based, meaning they're very ruthless towards drug dealers. Literally, yep. Oh, you already watched it, Chester. Oh, okay. What did you think of that mission?
Price again sometime soon.
I had to part ways with someone because he was being really annoying around me, and I wanted to leave me alone. He also made a public announcement. Was it here? Oh, but everything's good now, Mr. Waifu?
Guess you forgot something.
If you were to put Western punishment as in 1900 punishment against modern day crime, there would not be much crime. Western punishment, okay. What else? Here's what I'll say about this. You know, if you're talking about Western, if you, no, we don't, Mr. Waifu. You're good. You're fine, man. You're a friend. But here's the thing is, Western punishment doesn't work either, because Western punishment, there was a lot of innocent people that were actually caught in the West, and a lot of innocent people that were killed, and also because the courts in the West could actually be very corrupt, and there was times when the courts would actually, courts would not recognize other courts. So somebody could get charged with one crime in one place and get not guilty, but then they would be found guilty in another place, and that wouldn't be double jeopardy because the other court wouldn't recognize the other court. But what I will say is that while I don't think that you can have like a completely psycho like justice system, you can't have a very lenient justice system either. You have to have one somewhere in the middle, and you have to make like here, what I would personally do, my ideal justice system, how I would do it, is that for people who want forgiveness, for people who actually want to change, because you know there are certain crimes that I think are forgivable. You know, if somebody was like young and stupid, right, and they fell in with like a gang, and then they in prison they turned their life around and they wanted to try again, I'm all for giving that person another chance at life. I don't think one dumb mistake should ruin somebody's life. But, you know, if somebody's like a murderer, I say, you know, never let that person out of prison. You know, either give them the death penalty or life in prison. So, you know, if somebody repeatedly, if somebody wants forgiveness and they show that they've changed, you know, leave them alone. You know, they obviously should serve their sentence, but once their sentence is done, leave them alone. On the other hand, the people that repeatedly commit crimes over and over again, punish them extremely. The people that keep committing crimes over and over again, you know, because I don't understand how some of these cities like Chicago, New York, and San Francisco, I don't know why these cities constantly keep letting these people out of prison. Like, you have these people who commit so many crimes, and they constantly keep letting them out of jail. Like, why? Like, you look at these people's record, these people have like the most insane criminal record ever, and they're constantly let out of jail, numerous assaults, robberies, and it's like, how does this person keep constantly getting released? How is crap like this happening? And that's why crime rate goes up in places like that, because people, you know, you release these dangerous people on the streets, it's like, what's going to happen? If the criminals know they're just going to get a slap on the wrist, they're going to keep doing it, and they're going to keep doing it over and over again. Which GTA protagonist in the 3D era do you think is the best? Probably CJ. I'd say CJ is probably the most interesting out of all of them. Yeah, I would say CJ.
When I was
was first starting out, Blackwater weren't much more than an outpost. Just look at us now.
Yeah, it's the district attorney. Part of it is. No, I've never been arrested. I never had a ticket.
Hope you find what you're looking for.
What was CJ doing in Liberty City? He just wanted to get away from Los Santos.
Why don't you take a look at the catalog?
Well, they're HD universe and 3D universe are completely different universes. But I guess I'll be going here, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. And I will see you guys on the on the next one. If you guys enjoyed the stream, do drop a like. It does help me to make more content like this. And I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend, guys. And on Sunday, we'll probably have a GTA... Sunday, we'll probably do the GTA Online video. But tomorrow, I'll have the final crime boss part and a Medal of Honor part. Thank you guys for watching. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend, guys.